Welcome back to the Cop End podcast. Today I'm joined with Dooey. We're going to give a little roundup of the first, what is now 7 games of the season. So 5 league games, a Champions League game, and the recent Carabao Cup game. Dooey, first of all, how are we?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. It's been a little while since we've had like a podcast with some people on. I got one up the other day on my own, but we've all been busy, haven't we? Especially the lads with kids.
It's like the lads' holiday thing, isn't it? You all say you're going, and then when it comes to going, you all shit the bed.
Yeah, as soon as the season started, it's all fallen apart a little bit. But we're back. We're back with regular episodes. I'm going to make sure of it, even if it's just me getting in them, or we have shorter episodes. But we're back. I guess we can start right at the top level. How are you feeling so far? 7 games in.
It can't be much better, can it? We got every transfer we wanted, won every game so far. If you're being really nitpicky, you can say about the performances, but I mean that is being really nitpicky, isn't it? I mean you couldn't have asked for much more. If it was the end of when we won the league last season, if you'd have said you got every target you want and you're going to win every game, the first 7 games, buzzing.
I mean, disagree only slightly because we didn't get Gahey in.
Yeah,
And that's the only one we're missing. And then, yeah, we have won every game. I haven't been overly happy with how we've gone about doing it. But, I mean, yeah, a surface level 7 games out of 7, can't really complain. But I would like to see a few better performances. Or that's probably been harsh again because you've got to obviously respect the willingness to carry on for the 90 minutes and get the result. But there's times where we've looked unbelievable, but it's maybe been for short spells of time. And then, we're 2-0 up and all of a sudden it's 2-2.
Yeah, that's how I kind of caveated it as well a little bit, is when you've got like the fixtures we had to start, we've had Everton, Arsenal and Newcastle, then, I mean, you can't really decide how you perform. You just want to get the game won, don't you? Like the likes in Newcastle away, it's never going to be a game where you're going to go out and dominate 3 or 4-0, because especially with the Isak thing. So it's one of them where you just have to ride the storm a little bit and then see it out that way. But I mean, obviously was things to improve on, wasn't there, even still, because we shouldn't have let them back in the game, really, but it is what it is.
No, it's been strange because I think we have had a fairly tough start to the season in terms of fixtures. Like you say, Newcastle away is never easy. You've got Arsenal at home, Burnley away, never going to be an easy one. Scraped through on that one. But it's not a solid 90-minute performance at the moment. And obviously there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of new players in there that are trying to fit the mould. Vert is struggling with the adaptation to the Premier League. Ekitike, to be first, came in and set it on fire. Been brilliant so far, I'd say. Fullback positions aren't nailed down at the moment. There's a switch up between Kirkes and Robertson, and there's a switch up between Bradley and Frimpong. No one's sort of cemented that place, I'd say, so far. And obviously part of that's due to injuries and people slotting in. But yeah, it doesn't seem... I think we were always going to see quite a bit of rotation with those 2 positions this season anyway. But it doesn't seem like he's got his first choice yet.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the Atletico match, didn't I? And I thought when Bradley come on, he wasn't as good as you'd expect him to be. And obviously you normally expect him to be defensively solid, but I thought the second goal they scored was his fault, really. I mean, he's made a mistake in the build to it, and then it's gone up for a throw in, and then someone's run off the back of him, hasn't it, before they've played it to Llorente on the edge. I think, though, like you're saying, I think it'll come good. It's just waiting for it. Kirk has got all the raw attributes, still a little bit raw decision making. He makes me nervous.
He's too keen almost, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He makes me nervous how committed he is to every challenge, but he's full blood and thunder, isn't he? But I don't know whether that's just because I think he's been a Liverpool fan, hasn't he, growing up with his dad? So
I
don't know
think so, yeah.
he's eager to impress more than it is, when you'd hope that'd settle down as time's going on. And then Verts, for me, I think actually the last couple of games, I think he's been getting a bit more stick than he deserves. I think he's actually starting on a bit. I think that's the price tag as well, though, isn't it? When you've come in for money, you're expecting like.
But the thing is, part of that's due to his age, isn't it? And how long he had left on his contract. I thought he had a decent game, probably his best game against Atletico.
Yeah,
he was finding a bit more space, and I think that's more due to the opponent in a way because it's a bit different playing in the Champions League compared to the Premier League. But
Isak really enjoyed playing off him as well. You could see there was loads of times him and Isak just knew what each other were going to do. There was that one, wasn't there? Isak put him through, and then he just didn't manage to quite get there. And then off the
yeah,
ball, they were sort of high-fiving each other quite a bit. There was a couple of times well off the ball where you could see Isak was like looking over to him, smiling, like he was enjoying it. But so that's a good
yeah,
sign.
I think it just needs to click a little bit, doesn't it? He had a rough time, I'd say, against Everton. He didn't look great coming off the bench, and he did have that chance where, like you say, he got put through and then took a touch inside instead of swinging his right foot, and Tarkowski, luckily, didn't nail him, but he would have done if he'd have gone through with the tackle. But yeah, I think you're seeing in small moments of games that it is clicking and it will get there, but we just need to make it consistent over the 90 minutes because I can't keep doing these 80-plus minute winners because I don't think I'll make it to the end of the season.
There's almost a thing as well. I think sometimes with blitz teams, the first 20 minutes, and you think this is going to be an embarrassing scoreline, and then it's almost like dropping down to second gear, then, isn't it? Because you know you've got the lead.
Prime example against Everton in the derby. We looked brilliant for 20 minutes, went 2-0 up, and then I'd say Everton were the better team over the course of the next 70 minutes and probably unlucky not to come away with the result at times in that game.
Yeah,
Just
well,
going back to it, Kirkez as well. I thought Kirkez had a really good game in the derby.
yeah, I thought so as well. Yeah, really impressed with him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still early doors. Like we say, there's 5 positions maybe that have changed from last season. You've got the 2 fullbacks, you've got left winger, there's no Diaz. There's obviously Rio coming in, there's still Gakpo there. Then 2 strikers have came in. Ekatike, to be fair, absolutely flying. Isak still getting his fitness. Like I was at the game for the Carabao Cup the other day, and as he came off at half time, he was doing running drills with the physio. So he's still not there for 90 minutes, but it will be very interesting to see the team he puts out against Palace now that Ekatike is banned because, like I said, Isak can't do 90 minutes at the moment. So I'm wondering what sort of team's going to come out.
I
I guess
feel like,
Chiesa can fit in.
yeah, well, that's the other one as well, isn't it? I think maybe you've got one of them forwards on the bench just for the option, but then I think Isak starts. You try and get as long as you can out of him, really, to try and put you in the lead early doors.
Yeah. Well, going back to Chiesa though as well, I thought he was brilliant against Southampton the other night, and I think I said this last season. I don't think he was given like a fair crack of the whip. He didn't get enough game time to sort of prove himself. But this season he's getting a bit more game time, and we're seeing what he's actually capable of. Because if you think about it, he's not really played in the last year or so a lot of football.
I wonder whether this season you're going to see him more now because I feel like there's an element of on that left side you're going to want to switch it up a little bit from what Gakpo does, aren't you? And I think that's maybe where he gets his opportunity. And then the goal that we did score to win the game was obviously him cutting in on the left side, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
maybe that's a good omen for how he'll get used going forward. But he's also played up front, hasn't he? And he's done well there. So
yeah.
whether he keeps him as his sort of top trump and on the bench for the game on the weekend, and then he can put him anywhere he wants in that forward line, depending on how the game's going.
But the thing is, as well, is Salah's going to be gone for a month with AFCON this season, so someone's got to fill in that position. Obviously, Verts can probably play in there. We've got Rio that could probably switch wings. We've got Chiesa that can probably fill in. So all these players are going to need game time because I think if just looking back at that Southampton game earlier in the week, it did come across as a team that's not played a lot of football. Never mind together, just there was a lot of players out there that hasn't played a lot of football
Yeah,
with
well,
the
that's
likes of
people underestimate, don't they? I mean, Southampton aren't a bad side. They're not that much different from the Premier League team last year, so they're not really that far off being a Prem team. And then you've got them playing every week. They play that often in the Championship. They all know what each other's doing. And then you've got us putting lads in who, one are young or two, they've never played together. So it was obvious you're not going to just completely run away with it.
no.
I think maybe at Anfield, if we got 1 or 2 with Isak early on, my prediction was like 5-0, wasn't it? But that was just the thought. If we got early goals, that sort of Klopp way, do you know, where if we got a few the first 20 minutes, then you see it kind of run away with itself. But there is that thing of if they held on, then you fancied it going the other way where it was a tight scoreline.
Yeah, we didn't create too much. I said during the game that it was almost like a game of Sabutio, where there wasn't not a lot of movement going on. There was brilliant movement from Isak and Ekatike when he came on, but other than that, it was very much static. So it was like pass, turn around the ball to then play another pass. There wasn't a lot of movement. There was no one sort of breaking the lines, which I think is what you notice a lot more when the likes of Gravenberch are playing. They push through that midfield and play that pass into space. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's still early doors. There's a lot of players there that haven't played a lot of football. But someone that I was really impressed with, and it's really unfortunate because now he's going to be out for the next year, is Leone. I thought he was absolutely mustard. I don't think I've ever seen a more comfortable 18-year-old play centre half.
Yeah, I didn't see all the game, did I? Because obviously it was working that night. So I seen like an extended highlights thing. I think it was like 10 minutes, and obviously then looking at Leone's on their Twitter, all the stats were coming out, weren't they? Saying about, I think he won all his aerial duels, all his defensive duels, but
Yeah, he looked
you see
solid.
how calm he looked on the ball as well. But
He's an absolute monster as well.
yeah, well, there was I can't remember uh, which point it was. One of the points they had in the highlights was the ball goes to right back, and then I'm thinking Bradley, and I'm thinking he grew like a foot or something like that. But it's just he's drifted out onto that side, getting the ball, and then
Yeah.
he's come back in with it.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the injury was right in front of me, and I said at the time, I was like, he's done his knee there, because, as you know, I've done mine multiple times, so I sort of know the reaction. I've seen other people do it as well, and just the way his leg tangled up, and then basically there was, I think what's caused it is like a bit of overflexion. So as he actually falls, his ankle gets caught, and all his weight goes straight down the back of his heel. So
Yeah,
his leg literally folds straight in half, and I think that might be what's done it. But the main thing that gave it away for me was when he went on the floor, he didn't move his leg. It was almost locked in position, and that's the same feeling I had when I did mine. Basically, like, it's almost like a partial like paralysis of your leg. Like you literally can't move it. There's just that much pain, and it just like locks up. So like when the physio came across and really slowly sort of moved it, I think he did a few of like the manipulation tests to see. There's like certain tests you can do on your knee where it'll tell you whether, well, it give you an indication at least as to whether it's done or not. But yeah, absolutely gutted for the lad at 18. That's a big loss, not only for us, but for him in terms of his development as well. He's going to be 12 months out of the game pretty much.
yeah, you can see why I was seeing a thing on Twitter about Milan wanted him, didn't they? And they were going to use him as
Mm.
a starting centre back. So obviously you can see why now. But like you said, we're not going to see it now for a while. So hopefully he just has a speedy recovery and does proper rehab so we get him for next year.
Well, the fortunate position that we are in is the fact that Verge has done it and came back. So he's got him to sort of feed off, I guess, through the whole rehab process. And also might give him a bit of a confidence boost to see that Verge has came back and been so good after the injury.
Yeah, well, yeah. If anything, he's been better, hasn't he? As
Mm.
time's gone on, but yeah, he'll definitely lead on Verge, won't he? And then you just hope Verge stays fit because he's the main one, isn't he? Obviously, it doesn't matter who he plays with. He kind of helps anyone who's at the back with him. So hopefully
Yeah.
he stays fit for the rest of the season.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that can either, well, it's not going to make you, but break your career essentially. And
Yeah,
hopefully he comes out
being
on
that
the other
young.
side of it.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, he's got age on his side, hasn't he? It's not like it's come at 25 or 26 where you're potentially coming into your prime. He's 18, so hopefully, that being said as well, he can have a speedy recovery and he can be back for maybe the start of next season.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting now. I mean, I'm not really usually the one that starts talking about transfers because I usually do my head in a little bit, but be interesting now in January to see if they do take a bite on anyone.
I think we've got to. I don't think we can afford not to, because if you look at last season, we did burn out mainly due, and Slots actually came out this week and said that last season we played the same team quite a lot, and it sort of hurt us in February, March time when we had the likes of PSG and Newcastle in the cup final. And you know for a fact Kanate is not going to go for a season without getting injured. So then your backup's Joe Gomez, who unfortunately also is very prone to injury.
Super
And
Reese
then
Williams.
Well, I don't want him anywhere near a football pitch, to be quite honest. But
You don't
then you're
want
looking at,
not too
yeah,
close.
I've never been a fan, to be honest. I don't think he's good enough to play at our level, especially when you're talking potentially Champions League games. But then you're looking at the likes of Endo and Gravenberch, taking them out the midfield, and I don't. Well, there's proof that that didn't work a couple of seasons ago when we were taking like Henderson and Fabinho out the squad
No, that'd be a
to
big
play
problem,
centre half.
especially Endo covering grounds against better teams. Like, I mean, it's all
Yeah.
right him coming on the last 10 minutes of games where you've dropped off and there's no space in behind, but I mean, you don't think about going against the likes of PSG with Endo playing centre back. It's not the one.
Ah, but the issue is, like I said, we've got evidence that taking midfielders out of the midfield doesn't work, and it just hurts us further up the pitch. Crazy thing about that season was we had Nat Phillips and I
Hmm.
can't remember who the other centre half was at the
Reece
time.
Wi-
Was it Reece Williams?
Yeah, it was Reece
But like
Williams.
the difference of having two centre halves playing instead of two midfielders made a massive difference. But
Yeah, well, like you said, obviously, I don't think Reece Williams obviously not at Liverpool's level, but you get at least when you get someone who's properly playing the position, they can fill in for a couple of games. But
yeah,
yeah, the problem is you get exposed the longer that goes on, don't you?
yeah, and I think we'll have to be back in for Gay. I think there was rumours that we were potentially already going back in anyway in January, but I think with now the circumstances, I think we're going to have to. And Palace could be pretty awkward in terms of a transfer fee now because they know that we don't need him, but we're going to be needing our centre half.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting trade-off, isn't it? Because obviously, I think Liverpool will be thinking the same, vice versa with them. They'll be wanting a fee, so it'll be interesting to see how that one plays itself out. And then obviously, they might be a bit more willing with now they've got a month to get sort of a replacement in, but then it's that thing with the January window. People always say, isn't it? It's not the window to do business, so it's who they
No, but
go
we have
about.
had a fair few decent January windows in the past, if you think about it.
Yeah, not from our point of view. I just mean more them
No.
getting a replacement in to let Gahey go type of thing. But
Yeah, I think that was the issue to begin with, wasn't it? In terms of Gahey, we left it so late to try and get it sorted. And I actually saw something on Twitter just before, actually saying Gahey's came out and said that it's Liverpool's fault that the deal didn't go through because of how long we were sort of messing around getting the bid in and everything.
yeah, I don't know if I believe that though. I seen another one that
I
was
don't
the
know.
complete opposite, so it's like
Yeah,
I
you,
just
you don't know what to believe, do you?
no, especially that source that it's come from. It's Footy Insider, isn't it? So
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
I think that Spanish one. I don't know how you pronounce them, Fajajes or whatever.
I'm
They
not even going to attempt it.
it always seems all the same. They're always attacking us, aren't they? So
mm, yeah, I'm not sure, but either way, I think it was left far too late because if we were getting him on the last couple of days, we're not giving Palace a chance. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? You'll probably never know the full story.
yeah, you never know as well with these things. Like, see, I don't know as well when we're saying it's late because usually behind the scenes it's all done. So then you'd assume Palace would then know that we're in for him type thing. But it's like that thing with the bid being submitted. They don't usually submit the bids now until they know it's done. So you don't really know what the haggling process is like behind the scenes with getting to the fee type thing. People don't usually put fees in to get rejected, do they? You might put one in as just kind of a this is your second to last chance type of a deal, and then the next one's the final bid. But yeah, like you said, you won't know unless you're in it.
No, yeah, a lot of it's just hype and paper talk these days, isn't it? Or Twitter talk.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying before. I don't usually like getting into transfer stuff because it's just you're just talking about it can be pixie dust, can't it? You don't know what's true and what's not true. Whereas I just like when the football comes, and then we can all just get along with watching what we want. Well, see what's in front of you type thing rather than speculating.
Yeah, you just got to wait for that. Here we go, haven't you? Or Indy Kyler to put a post up.
Yeah, Andy Kyler's the one now, isn't he?
He's mad, him, and he was getting slated for years for like posting a load of rubbish, and now he's probably, I'd say, one of the best out there, especially this season.
Well, David Ornstein verified him. Didn't he? I think that was when he got
Yeah,
all the sort of credit because he had that. I think it was in mainly the DSAC story, wasn't it? So
yeah, he was breaking stuff out before you'd see it on like Sky Sports and all sorts. But
yeah,
I think there's 5 of them behind the account.
Yeah, because they were on Sky Sports and they were asking about who it is, and they were just saying about not wanting to let their identity out, so they can obviously. I think it helps them
Okay.
obviously with building a relationship with people, doesn't it, behind the scenes?
Yeah, because a lot of it's through like WhatsApp messages, isn't it? That he's like screenshots every now and again.
Yeah, well, that's what Romano did, didn't he? He didn't come through sort of the conventional journalism route. He come through building up contacts and getting little nibbles on stories.
Fun that, isn't it?
It's different. You don't get the yellow banner on Sky Sports News anymore, do you?
No, no, you just get a "here we go" tweet or something like that instead.
Yeah, get the notifications on.
So I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna ask you, what is your rating out of 10 so far for the first 7 games?
I got I'll go 8 and maybe 8.5. Yeah, 8.5 maybe, just to sort of give it a little bit of room for the performances. But I mean, realistically, it's probably as if you had to offer me this before, I'd probably be as close to a 10 now as you could be. But it's just
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say like a 7 purely just because of the performances. Like you can't fault the fact that we've won 7 games out of 7. But no, like I said before, like we're going 2-0 up in games and we're conceding a pretty much. Let me have a quick look. There was the Arsenal game and the Burnley game where we haven't conceded. Other than that, it's been like 2 goals a game. Other than the last 2 have been 1. So like we are conceding a fair few goals, and some of them are a bit silly that we are conceding. But yeah, like I said, I'd like to see a solid, consistent 90 minutes, not like a little 10 minutes, maybe here and there. That's
Yeah,
my only criticism. Like, obviously, I'm buzzing that we're 7 out of 7. It's just not been great to watch at times.
I'd love to say that's coming against Palace, but I'm not 100% certain with them
Palace are
playing.
a proper dodgy one for us, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't. It's going to be another
Especially
Glasner.
away.
Yeah, Glasner's a top manager as well, isn't he?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just looking at the fixtures coming up here. It's not an easy run from here. So we've got Galatasaray away, Chelsea at home. No, sorry, Chelsea away, United at home, Frankfurt away, Brentford away, Villa at home, Madrid, City. So it's not an easy run of games. October it is. The next sort of 6 or 7 weeks. I'm not saying they're going to decide the season by any means, but they are big games coming up that, if we do win those games, then it puts us in a very good position going in towards Christmas.
Yeah, that's why I'm just happy at least that Arsenal dropped points a little bit, just to give a bit of breathing room, because I
Yeah.
think you need it them next few weeks. I mean, I was worried about Everton. Normally, Everton just come in. I was worried about that more being a draw, to be honest, than it was a loss. But um, yeah, at least we got the 3 points out of that, and then I think we're going to need it the next couple of games as well. United at home, I fancy, I don't really mind United at home. It's more the Chelsea away one for me.
No, yeah, United aren't the same team they used to be, are they? But, it's always that rivalry that, yeah,
Yeah, this is.
yeah. But at home, I'm not too fussed. Chelsea away, I was a little bit concerned until I actually saw them against United the other day. And I don't know, something doesn't seem to be clicking with them quite as well as I thought it was going to do this year. I thought they were going to be really up there and pushing us. Obviously, it's still early, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I just
Got Chelsea away.
fancy them just because of the goalkeeper. I remember my dad saying at the start of the season he thinks they'll be up in for the title contention. And I think when we did the predictions, I said third, didn't I? 'Cause I do fancy them as being a top team that'll keep picking up points. But as far as actually being in for the title, I just don't think you can with that goalkeeper.
No, no, I didn't think they'd win the league. I thought they'd be sort of pushing now. I thought they'd be a team to worry about potentially. But yeah, still early. There's only 5 league games gone, isn't there? So there's plenty of times for teams to turn up and switch it
Yeah, I
up.
think the most interesting thing for me is just being Guardiola just doing a full U-turn on his what you've sort of expected from him, hasn't it? I mean, be interesting to see how that one plays out as the next few games go on. And then
Yeah, I
how that
think
works as well.
obviously Rodri's came back from them this season again, like a knee injury at a pretty not a young age by any means, but I don't think he's going to be the player that he was. before the
Yeah,
injury.
for me, it's not that big of a problem, Rodri. It's more, I don't think
No.
they, like, I think when we did that video before, I said that I don't think they've addressed the biggest problems from what was killing them last season, and that is legs in midfield. They had Kovacic, didn't he, getting overrun. And for me, as good as Rodri is, still he doesn't have legs. And then I think that's the problem when they're playing Arsenal. They're getting overrun, so then they're deciding to drop off and then play that back five. But you can't do that for 90 minutes. It's hard to do against any team, never mind Arsenal. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens as it keeps going on. And then I think where they've also changed is Haaland come in, isn't it? So there used to be possession, false nine. But then you go for a more direct forward, but then it kind of where they excelled before, now they've had to sort of change for him. So now they're more direct transitional type of team, but I still don't think they've got the players to be sort of to go full blitzkrieg with that sort of method. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think. Well, it's been ingrained into City for a while, isn't it? The Guardiola style of play, and I'm not a fan of it. I find it boring to watch, and I think he has genuinely killed modern football. Obviously, he's got all the trophies, so he can sit there and tell me I'm an idiot. But I find him like incredibly boring to watch when it's just possession footy.
I can't remember who it was. Was it? It was on the overlap, wasn't it? The I don't know, Stick to Football podcast. I think it was, and they were
Uh,
saying someone was saying it was boring, and they were saying it's not that it's boring. It's just that they're that good at it. There's like no jeopardy in the game, is there? So there's no.
mm,
You just know they're controlling the game, and it's a matter of time before they score and win the game.
yeah,
But
they just end up playing chess, don't they? Basically,
yeah, I don't think you see that this season though. So that's why it'll be interesting.
yeah. But did you see that stat the other day about Haaland? It's his worst start to a season, and it was, well, I think this was 5 games in, or something like that. He'd scored 4 in 5, and it is his worst start to a season. I'm sure it was 4 in 5 or 5 in 4, one of the two. But yeah, absolutely mental. He's an absolute robot, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the most sort of lethal finisher. I mean, I know we all sort of beat the drum of Isak now, don't we? But I think Isak's better all round play, but Haaland's just as far as finishing goes. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I don't think we'll see the full extent of Isak for probably another month. Probably
He's
he's
still in
getting put up.
pre-season, really, isn't he? He's not. He's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Not having a
exactly.
pre-season. He's still got to get up to speed.
And the thing is, I saw a clip of Carragher actually speaking about it today, that Ekatike is too good to be an understudy. He's too good not to play.
Do you know what's funny? So that booking, I don't know whether it's me reading too much into it, but part of me was thinking it was like he's kind of been overshadowed by Isak,
Yeah,
and all the talks around Isak. So for me, it was kind of like a "don't forget me" kind of thing. I don't know
yeah,
whether
but
that's me reading too much into it.
yeah, I thought similar, to be honest, and I wasn't a fan of it. Like, just score your goals, do what you need to do on the pitch. You scored a tap in and took your top off. Like, you know what I mean? It was. I don't want it to become an ego thing where there's like animosity between the team, and especially them
No.
two up top. Like, you want players to be there and push each other healthily. You don't want it to become a me versus you thing.
I think they'll be all right. To be honest, I think TK's got a history of doing well everywhere he goes. He's never had a history, has he, of kicking off a fuss before. Even when he was at
Yeah,
PSG, and he had all them players sort of ahead of him then. And Frankfurt, he kind of pushed his way in. They had to play him with Marmoush up front in the end, didn't they? So, I mean, he's got a history of just getting on with it and getting himself in teams. And I think
but now
also,
he's at the point now, isn't he, where he is a big signing. He's came in on 80 million, so
I
he's
think
not.
he can play off the left or even in that sort of 10 like Verts though as well. So that's why I don't
Yeah,
really. He could play as a 10 where, I mean, you call it a 10, like a 4-4-2 as well, isn't it, really? Salah goes, I think they'll both play then as well. And I think he'll actually help Verts quite a bit because I think if he plays, he's going to want to be central and you get Verts, he'll be able to drift out a little bit. So I think that'll make that interesting, but wait and see how it ends up.
I think we've almost got too many players of a certain level to try and fit into the team, which is obviously not a bad place to be, but it is at the same time because 120 million for Verts, can't sit him on the bench. 80 million for Ekitike, can't sit him on the bench. 125 for Isak or whatever it was. You also can't sit him on the bench. And those
Yeah,
sorts of players are not going to be happy to sit on the bench.
I think there's that many games though. I think if you look at when
Yeah, of course.
and wasn't that last season, was it? Well, it might have been last season. There's obviously the Klopp season where when we went to the end with the quad, where we tried to win, and then we had another season similar. And both of them seasons, when you're in all them competitions, it's like far too many games, isn't it? So to be able to have them options now when you're going for every trophy, it's not a problem as long as you're in the competitions. But then,
It's just balancing the players, isn't it? And the egos and expectations.
yeah, but the only time I'll see it becoming a problem is if we get knocked out of the competitions and then you start panicking about
You've not
where
got
you
enough
getting the
games.
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even things like in the future, like, I mean, now you're looking at what they're doing with the Club World Cup. You don't know what they're going to do with all the other cup schedules, but if they made the other cup schedules heavier again, I mean, you're going to need the squad, aren't you? So it'll be interesting to see what the. I was laughing at, even though I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, Simon Jordan. I think he said something about players moan there's too many games, but now when they're not playing, they're still moaning about not playing in games.
Well, I think the players that are moaning are the ones that are playing 50, 60, nearly 70 games a season when you include the internationals, isn't it? They're the ones
Yes.
that are sort of complaining. But
Think,
yeah,
haven't you? They've extended Europe, so there's more games in Europe. Then they've extended that Club World Cup, and then there's nothing to give, is there? So players are struggling now. But did you see what Roberto Martinez did with Portugal? Though? I thought that was quite funny. He
uh,
did one where he played one squad, so they had two games. He said to one squad, "You're playing the first game." Then he had a second squad for the second game, and he
right.
said to them, "You're not flying." Something like they never flown in as early as the first squad, so they still have days off with the family. And then
It's all right, innit?
the first squad left after the first game. So he was trying to, his point was trying to balance it where he was saying now there's that many games. He's trying to respect the players, obviously getting some time off, but like balance it. And I think it's obviously easy for him, isn't it? 'Cause at Portugal, they've got that many good players. And
Yeah.
he's sort of playing, no disrespect, but compared to Portugal, minnows, aren't you? When you're playing like your
San
Ferro.
Marino and yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you can afford to do it then, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if anyone sort of does that going forward as well.
I think the next couple of months are going to be interesting because there's another, speaking about it, international break, isn't there, in the start of October, which I didn't even watch any of it. The
No,
last international break, I didn't watch a single minute. I can't stand it. It's boring. The only time I enjoy it is when it is actually tournament football because you've got to go for it at those games. But like you say, when it's like England against San Marino or Albania or wherever, pointless to watch.
it's the only thing I get out of it is obviously working in football. So when I do like
Yeah,
consulting stuff, um, it's made a little bit easier because I watch like Balkan football, so watching them sort of countries play. But other than that, yeah, can't stand it.
right. Let's do one last thing then. We'll go for a prediction for the Palace game. We'll see if we can get one. We'll finish on that.
I'm gonna go for a 2-1.
You stole mine. I was going to go 2-1. Hopefully, it's not a last minute winner, but there's every chance. 3.
What was the one the season with Klopp 7-0? Go for one of them. I don't think he'll.
I don't think that's happening at the weekend unless Gay wants to help us out with a few pens or own goals.
Yeah, he might do. Yeah, start throwing them in.
Yeah.
Give Glasner the look. The Roy Hodgson, Stevie G one.
Oh, I remember that. That was brilliant. I thought, was it Fernandez had a pen the other day, didn't he? Was that against Chelsea?
Yeah, when he
It was
missed.
against Chelsea. Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought he was going to do that where he sort of looks over and blasts it. I mean, it got saved anyway, didn't it?
yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, Dooey, thanks for joining me for this chat. If you've enjoyed this one, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.